Namo Namaha, Haraye Namaha, Venkatanathāryāya Namaha, Rāmānujāya Namaha, Shatakopāya Namaha. Now, since Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh Vedantacharya associated with the Aham Brahmasmi Foundation by Sringeri Sharada Peetha incessantly showcases his ignorance and fools other people. In this case, he fooled 12 people already. That Ramanuja thinks that Jiva is created and that the kalpa theory doesn't belong to Krishna or the Vedas or the Shastras, but it is from an exterior source called pAncharAtra. That's the crux of his claim. Is it true? No. We'll see how. So, Bhagavad Gītā chapter 2 verse 20, he has mistyped it here. There is a missing in the end of the first pada. It reads like this. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Okay, so basically the verse is simple. It says that when you kill the body, the soul is not killed. When the body is created, when it is born, the soul is not born. It already existed. Very simple. Everyone agrees. I agree, he agrees, Shankaracharya agrees. He can't find a fault with this, but he has to show that he is an incompetent person. So he tries to bring up a dispute here. What is his dispute? He says that, okay, Ramanuja agrees that the soul is not born, but in the end of the kalpa, he says that it is born. The jivas are created. So, where did Ramanuja get this? He got it from pAncharAtra. And pAncharAtra has been refuted by Bhagavan vyAsa himself. So, that's what he says. But it is not true, because Ramanuja doesn't say that the soul is created. Only it is associated with a body at the beginning of creation, at each kalpa, and at the end of each kalpa, it is dissociated from bodies, and the souls, the jivas, are unborn. That's Ramanuja's position. But this gentleman doesn't agree with this. He doesn't understand this. Furthermore, he doesn't understand his own acharya. Let us see how. So, for example, let us see what Krishna says. Krishna says, Sarvabhutani kaunteya prakatinyati mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau visrujamyaham. So what does he say? Sarvabhutani kaunteya prakritimyanti mamakim kalpakshaye. At the end of each kalpa, all bhutas, all beings, literally bhutani means beings, living beings, non-living beings, everything. Mama prakritim, mamakim prakritim yanti. They are absorbed into my nature. And kalpadau visrijamyaham. That you see, srij, the dhatu srij is being used, that is used in srishti as well. In the beginning of kalpa, I recreate them. So does it mean that Krishna is saying that jivas are created? No. He only says that jivas are associated with their bodies when the universe is recreated. This is so simple. And if you look at the next verse, Prakritim swamavashtabhya visrijami punah punah. I create again and again. Bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakriter vashat. So all this class of beings, jivas, non-jivas, everything, which are subject to karma and subject to prakriti, I, who am independent, I create them again and again. That's what he says. So what we have learned is that kalpa theory is not from pAncharAtra, it is from Bhagavad Gītā itself. And the great Vedantacharya doesn't know Bhagavad Gītā, so he says it is from pAncharAtra. Now, what does Shankaracharya says? Is Shankaracharya really as stupid and incompetent as Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh? Fortunately not. Shankaracharya, commenting on these verses, clearly says this. Prakritim swam avashtabhya vashikritya visrijami punah punah. Prakrtito jatam bhutagramam bhutasamudayam imam vartamanam kritsnam samagram avasham asvatantram avidyadidoshaihi parvashikritam prakritehe vashat swabhava vashat. So Shankaracharya thinks that Krishna is saying that the bhutagrama is created again and again so that it is subject to avidya and other faults, other doshas. Now, avidya is an attribute of a living thing, a chetana, not a achetana. So, this should discard any doubt as to whether Shankaracharya has the regarding Srishti, Visrijamyaham, Srishti, whether he has living beings in mind or non-living beings. He has conscious living jivas in mind when he understands Krishna exactly and correctly. However, Sri Chakkila Venkatesh Advaita Shankara Vedantacharya doesn't understand his own Acharya. And the previous sloka, what does Shankaracharya say there? Sarvabhutani kaunteya prakritim trigunatmikam aparam nikrishtam yanti mamikam madiyam kalakshaye pralaya kale. So kshamitam, kalpakshaye pralaya kale. So kalpa, you see the word kalpa, the end of kalpa is mentioned here as in the original. Shankaracharya takes it to mean pralaya kala, and he says that in pralaya kala all jivas are absorbed into my nature, my prakriti. Punah bhuyah tani bhutani utpatti kale kalpadau visrijami. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. He's saying during jIvotpatti, during the beginning of each kalpa, I recreate all these jivas. So what we have found is that Sri Chakkila Venkatesh Mahabhaga, the supposed Vedantacharya, doesn't even understand his own Shankaracharya. Now, does it contradict anything? Does it contradict this verse? Na jayate mriyate. No, it does not contradict, because anyone with half a brain can understand that this is talking about the uncreatedness of a soul, whereas the other verses, including Shankaracharya interpreting Krishna correctly, he says that it is related to not literally creating any soul, but associating it with the created jagat, bodies and so on, because they are avasha and subject to karma. Okay, so we have seen this much. Beyond that, he blabbers that okay, the pAncharAtra somehow says that jIvotpatti happens. Now that is a false thing. pAncharAtra says no such thing. Even Shankaracharya himself, in his commentary to the Brahma Sutras, the Utpatya Sambhavadhikaranam, whose sutras Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh Garu had fabricated earlier, even there Shankaracharya is not certain what pAncharAtra says. Let us see how. Now, what in Utpatya Sambhavadhikaranam, Shankaracharya presents two pakshas. Okay, two pakshas, not one. Because he is uncertain, he proposes two pakshas. He is guessing. Tatra Bhagavatah Manyante is the starting of one paksha. Athapi syat, or it may be like this. Nacha pAncharAtra siddhantibhi, etc. So Shankaracharya himself is not clear about what pAncharAtra siddhanta is. He imagines that there are two pakshas, and one of these paksha involves jIvotpatti. And he says that Bhagavan vyAsa or bAdarAyaNa, actually, who has composed the sutras for which he is commenting, is also unclear about what pAncharAtra says. And therefore, he also in his confusion has created two sets of sutras, one for each paksha. That's his Shankaracharya's imagination. And just like I should respect Sri Shankaracharya for not being such an imbecile as Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh as to fabricate sources he is not familiar with. At least he is honest and saying, okay, I don't know what pAncharAtra Siddhanta is. It could be this or it could be this. So if it is this, then there is jIvotpatti that is discarded by vyAsa or bAdarAyaNa. And if it is not, then also it is discarded for some other reason. So I am unclear. I think that vyAsa also was unclear when he was composing these sutras. And therefore, it is only unclearness which is being presented here. Something unclear is being dismissed. So that's the extent of Sri Shankaracharya's honest misunderstanding of the pAncharAtra position on jIvotpatti. Okay. However, is that the only way to understand Vedavyasa sutras? Or was Vedavyasa so incompetent as to not understand the Siddhanta he is dismissing? No, he was not. Let us see how. Now, let us see how Ramanuja treats this thing. Okay. So, you look at this sutra, Utpatti Sambhavat. So, here, what Vedavyasa is doing according to Ramanuja is that he is dismissing the dismissal of pAncharAtra. How? It is very simple. So, first he presents the pUrvapaxa, which means the argument one may use to dismiss pAncharAtra. That he brings up. Utpatti Sambhavat. Okay, some people misread pAncharAtra to say that it involves jIvotpatti. And if so, it is wrong because it is against the Vedas. Utpatti Sambhavat, because there can be no generation of jivas. And what does he say next? Okay, this is the next sutra in the pUrvapaxa. Nacha kartuh karanam. So, from the karta, you can't have karanam, which is mana. It can't be generated because the Shruti contradicts that. And what is the Shruti? It says, Etasmat jayate prano manas sarvendriyani cha. So it's a Upanishadic statement. So if your pAncharAtra doctrine contradicts this, then it is all wrong. That's what it says. This is the pUrvapaxa. However, if you look at the further sutras, let us see what he says next. Evam prapte prachakshmahe vijnanadi bhave va tada pratishedha. So far you have the pUrvapaxa. However, if you understand these terms, karta and utpatya sambhavat, jiva, right? If you understand these terms as referring to Parabrahma, Vijnanancha Adicha Parabrahma Vijnanadi. If you understand the pAncharAtric statements like this, then apratishedha, no contradiction, no cancellation, no denial, apratishedha. Okay. You recall that Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh had created some funny fake sutras where it said asamanjasam something and all. However, it is clear, apratishedha, no cancellation of pAncharAtra. If you correctly understand it to be vijnanadi bhave. Okay. Now, if you go further, the next sutra is Vipratishedhacha. So, even in the pAncharAtra Tantra itself, the pAncharAtra Agamas itself, they explicitly, clearly deny the generation of the creation of Jiva. They say that Jivas are eternal. So, this is the second reason. You see the cha here, it indicates also. Okay, it is a continuation of the previous sutra. It says another reason why pAncharAtra can't be discarded. It is so Vipratishedhacha. Let us see. Vipratishedhacha tadapratishedha. No cancellation, because the disputed jIvotpatti doctrine is denied, refuted inside the pAncharAtra Tantra itself. Okay, so this is what Ramanuja says. This is the Ramanujan understanding of vyAsa statements. So if you compare in this understanding, vyAsa is not a confused person. He doesn't think that okay, I don't know what pAncharAtra is. If pAncharAtra is saying there is jIvotpatti, then I refute it for this reason, because utpatti sambhavat. However, if the pAncharAtra doctrine is something else, then I refute it for some other reason. There is no such confusion. This is a better understanding of bAdarAyaNa. He is not a stupid person. He first studies what he is trying to dismiss, understands it correctly, and refutes it or accepts it. In this case, he accepts it. So this is a better view of the Brahma Sutras of bAdarAyaNa, a more charitable view, where one doesn't think that vyAsa is a confused person who doesn't understand the doctrine he's trying to dismiss. So that's all I had. So Shankaracharya is not a fraud who creates fake quotations like Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh did. He honestly says that he's confused about pAncharAtra. He doesn't know what pAncharAtra is, and he thinks that vyAsa is similarly confused. However, we have shown that a better understanding of vyAsa's Brahma Sutras can be had, wherein vyAsa is not confused, bAdarAyaNa is not confused about what pAncharAtra is. He accepts it based on very clear logical reasons. And furthermore, unlike what Chakkilam Venkatesh says, he is not representing Adi Shankaracharya at all. Adi Shankaracharya accepts the existence of kalpa, the creation of beings in kalpa, the dissolution in pralaya, without contradicting the unborn nature of the jivas. So that's all I had to say. Thank you very much.